In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to radically improve your headshot game. What's up everyone, Pete Coco here. I am a headshot and portrait photographer with a studio in New York. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to radically improve your headshot game. But before we get started, as always, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you gently press that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this video. Check out my other videos. I have tutorials and gear reviews and all sorts of other things that I've been posting. And thank you to everyone who's been following my videos and subscribing. I appreciate every one of you. And it's so cool as I see the channel grow, so keep it up, my friends. Now, headshot photography is one of the fastest growing genres of photography today, and for good reason. With more and more people working from home and using technology like Google and Zoom to collaborate and to work and to communicate, our online persona is much more exposed than it's ever been. And many people who have taken their online presence for granted are now spending a lot more time refining that online image because that's the way they're making their primary business connections. Besides all that, the pandemic has really made a huge shift in what people are doing for a living. I know that a lot of my clients coming in today are people who left the corporate world to either pursue a new job in a completely different field, or a lot of them have actually started their own business or started to pursue their passion project, which they were never able to do before. All of these people need great headshots and branding images. And so I really feel like we're living in a golden age of headshot photography. Now, this creates an awesome opportunity for us as headshot photographers to grow our businesses and to position ourselves as the expert who knows how to get the job done right. So without further ado, here are my 5 tips to help you radically improve your headshot game. Tip number 1, avoid extreme posing. So extreme posing, as I call it, is when you do things like take one of the client's shoulder and jam it towards the camera so that it's the primary focus of the image, while turning their head in the exact opposite direction, while having them lean in towards the camera so that they're teetering uncomfortably and about to fall. These kinds of things will make for terrible headshots, especially for corporate clients. And there's a lot of reasons why, so let me discuss some of them. First of all, if your client has a little bit of, whatever going on around here, and you turn them, you're gonna create all kinds of lines on the side of their face that they don't need there. Also, turning them too much will kind of bunch them up. It makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes them look weird. It makes them look out of place. And it honestly just looks like you learned how to take headshots in the 90s. So we're not trying to make Sears glamour portrait studio photos of people. We're trying to make a professional headshot that makes them look like people who other people want to work with. Here's what I recommend. Avoid the extreme posing and instead start with your client completely squared up towards the camera. Head and shoulders straight on towards the camera. This is going to do a number of things. First of all, most people will like the way they look when they're shot head and shoulders straight on. So with the nose pointed directly towards the camera, you're probably going to be able to get a shot that the client will like. Secondly, when you do start moving them around, because I'm not against posing them, what you'll do instead is move them ever so slightly. So here's what I tell my clients. I'll say, bring your right shoulder 5 degrees towards me. So instead of this, we'll get this. Okay, now that's a lot more reasonable. And then if I have them turn their head, I have them turn it slightly. And what you're able to do in this case is keep them from looking kind of uncomfortable and contorted. And also you're creating a much more natural looking image where they look more natural and feel more natural as you photograph them. The other thing you can do is when you turn their head just a little from side to side, you can photograph them from both sides and then try and figure out, okay, which side is their better side. because most people have a kind of a sweet spot where if you photograph them from this particular spot, they're gonna look awesome. And if you hit the wrong spot, or if you photograph the wrong side, it might not be the best look for them. I don't like using the term good side and bad side because I don't like that language. It's not very empowering to people. But what I do tell people is if you shoot someone from the wrong side, it just doesn't look quite like them. It looks like maybe it's their brother or their sister. We want to get them into the position where they look their best, but also where they are most familiar looking. So if one of their friends or their mom or their dad looked at the image, they would say, oh yeah, that looks like you. That's a nice picture. The less you contort them, the less you move them around, the easier it is to get this done. The other advantage of shooting them head and shoulders straight on when you start is you can tweak your lighting. It's very easy to see if your lights are kind of off, if something is not right, and to make small incremental adjustments to get them exactly where they need to be. So avoid the extreme posing. Tip number 2, get that jawline out. Now, of course, I would be remiss if I don't give 100% credit to this move to my mentor, Peter Hurley. So Peter wrote the book on the jawline when it comes to headshots. Definitely check out his video. It's all about the jawline. So go look that up after you're done watching this one, and you'll see really clearly what I mean. But let me go over it. The jawline, or lack thereof, will make or break your images. So one of the easiest things you can do is have your client get their jawline towards you. Now, some people call this the turtle move or turtling or something like that, but basically what you want to do is you want to have your client sort of bring their neck towards your camera like this and then tilt their chin down. Now, what you don't want them to do is hunch over and lean towards you because you don't want them to look like a hunchback in the photo, right? This is a terrible photo. This is a terrible video of me like this too. We don't want that. But what we don't want also is if I just stand straight up, okay, I got all of this stuff going on under here, and it's just from standing normally. But watch what happens if I just do this. So by bringing the neck forward and tilting the chin slightly down, you're going to give them a super sharp jawline. This move, everyone will benefit from. Everyone will love you for it, especially during 2 years into COVID, where a lot of us have gained a little bit of weight. We might not feel the best about ourselves at this point. This will really get rid of any kind of double chin or whatever you'll have there, and it will get a much sharper jawline. The other thing I'm going to recommend when it comes to the jawline is remember that it's not just for those of us who have a little bit extra something going on under here. Even if you have someone with 0% body fat who's a model, they will benefit from this because it'll create a sharper jawline. So one of the mistakes I see beginners make is they learn this move about the jaw, and then they only use it when they say, have a client who looks like they're a little bunched up, just standing there. So then they get someone with a beard, for instance, a man with a big beard, and they don't think they have to do it. Or they get a model who has a really sharp jawline to begin with, and they don't think they have to do it. You have to do this with every single client. It will make a difference. It will make the image so much better. And everyone will love it because you're accentuating something good about their features. Everyone loves a nice sharp jawline. So don't let them bunch up, don't let them slouch, and don't shoot them from the ceiling with them leaning towards you like this and looking up. No need to do any of that if you get the jawline out. Number 3, never, ever, ever say cheese. Okay, probably the biggest mistake that people make when they're first getting into headshot photography is they tell the client, smile, or say cheese, or you need to relax. If you say these things to people, you're going to get the worst expressions out of them that you can imagine, okay? You tell 5-year-olds say cheese for a school photo, but when we're dealing with adults who need headshots, we don't want to do that. So what you need to do instead is you need to find a way to make them forget that they're staring into the barrel of your lens without forcing them to smile, okay? Obviously, if you tell them say cheese, they're gonna go like this. Some people will go like this, and then they'll lift the eyebrows too. And they just will look crazy. They will look either insane or they will look like they're being forced outside of their will to smile at you, which in a way is what you're doing to them. So don't say cheese. All right, so what do you have to do instead? You need to make them feel comfortable in your space, working with you to get their headshots. So for me, this begins the moment they walk into my studio. So the minute they walk through that door, I'm there talking to them. I'm there communicating with them. Obviously, I say, hey, how are you? It's great to meet you. What do you do? What industry are you in? I try and find common themes, and I try to make them feel relaxed, because most people, if you're dealing with corporate clients, don't want to get their headshot taken. That's the last thing they want to do. They have to do it. Even a lot of models and a lot of actors don't like getting their headshot taken, because we're the most critical of our own face, right? So you have to disarm them. Make them feel good about being there. Make them feel happy to be there. And don't try and force it. What I do is I just talk to them. I just pretend like, okay, if we were at the bar having a drink together, what would we be talking about? We talk about sports, we talk about family, we talk about kids, talk about their job. And if you bring up their job, obviously that makes a lot of sense, because they're there for headshot. So I'll ask them, so is this for your current job? Are you getting a new job? What's going on? And they will then tell you where they are in their career. And it's usually very fascinating, very cool. And there's a lot you can connect with them on there. Then I make sure before I bring them anywhere near the lights, I talk to them about the process. I show them what we're gonna do. So I'll actually point to my monitor on my computer card, and I'll say, all right, here's how my process works. Everything that we shoot is tethered, so you're going to see the images pop up. I'm gonna periodically bring you out from behind the camera so that we can review the images together to make sure you get awesome pictures that you love. So once they understand the process, now they start to become invested in it, and not only that, but now they start to see you as the expert. So if they don't see you as the expert, they're gonna be even more nervous. So if you, for instance, put them behind your lights and you just stand there fiddling with your aperture and your shutter speed, staring at the screen with a look of terror on your face with no communication, they're gonna be like, oh no, this is not going well. This guy or girl doesn't know what they're doing, and these pictures are going to suck. Right? That's what's going to be going on in their head if you don't look confident. So even if you are inside of your head screaming because you're in fear and you don't know what you're doing, never let them see that. You want to project confidence. When I was getting started and I'd be fiddling around with my camera settings and internally be screaming, what I would do is just talk to them as they're standing behind the lights, and just snap off pictures, and don't let them see your monitor until, you know, I angle my monitor so they can't see it until they come out. But, you know, I'm just talking to them and making sure that they feel like, all right, he's just working on his settings, but nothing is nervous or awkward here. So that's what you gotta do. Until you get to that point where you know you take one picture, it's gonna look good. You will get there, but it takes time. The other thing is, talk to them about their kids or their pets. One of my friends had mentioned to me, because I had said somewhere in a forum or in a group, I'd said how, yeah, bring up people's kids. They'll always, their face will light up. They'll become much more natural. They'll give you great expressions, because everyone loves talking about their kids. And when you think about your kids, it brings a nice smile to your face. Same thing, one of my friends said, yeah, and pets too. So if you feel like they're a little awkward back there, ask them if they have kids. If they don't have kids, say, do you have a pet? And either one of those, you're probably gonna get a good response to. But the key is to make them feel comfortable behind your lens. And the last way to do that is by reminding them that there's a camera pointed at them. Now, I'm using a mirrorless Canon camera, which I love. I have an R5. And the added benefit of that is the focus is so good that I don't even have to look at the screen or at the camera. So a lot of times I'll just be talking to them while I'm firing, and I use continuous lights as well. So it's just the very low shutter sound is the only thing that shows that pictures are being taken. And it's a great way to disarm them. But no matter what you're using, even before I had the new camera, you know, using my older camera, I would work to make them forget that there's a camera there. You can joke with them. Everybody can kind of come up with their own sort of jokes that work. So I always recommend go with your own personality. And then kind of read the client. If it's someone who seems like they're very cool and easygoing, feel free to joke around with them. If they're much more buttoned up and you don't want to offend them, maybe you should kind of keep your jokes more reserved. But whatever it is, it's about connecting with that client, making them feel comfortable in front of your camera, and eventually you want them to forget that there's a camera there, because then you're gonna get awesome natural expressions. And again, for smiles, you're never gonna get a good smile with forcing people to smile, because no one can fake a smile. Some people can fake it pretty good, but pretty much nobody can fake it, because certain muscles of your face and your eyes are activated from a genuine smile. Just like genuine laughter is very hard to fake. So you want to make them smile. You want to get that smile going naturally. So joke around, be silly, disarm them, so that they forget that there's a camera pointed ever so close to their face. Number 4, shoot tethered already. Okay, so I've already touched on this. I've talked about how I tether and how I have my screen. If you're not shooting tethered in 2022, I don't know what to tell you at this point. It doesn't make any sense. It's so incredibly inexpensive to do, and it's going to make your images so much better. It's gonna make you a better photographer. It's gonna make your clients so much happier. There's no negative, downside to it. I have a tether cable from Tether Tools, which is a thick orange tethering cable. You can't miss it. And I have a tether block that screws onto the bottom of the camera so that it's really snug. It can't be pulled out by accident. And, you don't even need to purchase software to tether with. Like if you're using Canon, for instance, Canon's Digital Professional, you can tether right to that. It does an awesome job. So it's not expensive to tether. You can tether right to your laptop or your desktop. And the advantages are endless. So one advantage, you see it right away. Now, any image you show a client on a 3-inch or a 2-inch LCD screen is going to look good because you can't see any of the details. And the contrast on the LCD screens is usually a little bit higher than it really is in real life. So it gives a lot of warmth to the skin tones, and you can't see those small details that are not right. So if you're showing your client the LCD screen and they're saying, oh, I love that, when you send them the actual image and they see the final image, chances are they're gonna be unhappy. And this is because they're going to see all these things they didn't see before. So just tether already. Number 5, use a simple, flattering light. Now, if you're new to studio photography or fairly new and new to headshot photography and you're just getting into this and you're watching tutorials on YouTube, you're going to get so many lighting setups that your head will spin, okay? From 1 light to 2 lights to 3 lights to 5 lights to 6 lights, 12 reflectors, and a poodle. So don't try and do all these crazy lightings, and for a number of reasons. One, for headshots, you don't need any more than 3 lights. That's it. That's all you need. The most is all you need is 3 lights to take a great headshot. But you can really do the majority of your work when you get started, especially for men and women, it doesn't matter the gender, with a simple 2-light setup called parallel light. Now, why do I recommend you start with parallel light? Well, it's easy to use. It's not complicated. You basically take 2 lights and you set them parallel to each other and perpendicular to the ground, and you put one on each side of the client and kind of get it as close as possible without getting into the frame. And you feather it, so it's sort of slightly towards them, but kind of aimed at their opposite shoulders. And you're gonna get awesome results. So parallel lighting is a very flattering light. It's very even, so there's no shadows on the face. It looks awesome on men and women and kids and any kind of person. It's going to look good. It's not complicated to set up. It doesn't require you to have $10,000 worth of gear. And they're going to like the results. So if you're dealing with corporate clients who work at a bank or a lawyer or a realtor, these are just normal people who don't ever get in front of a camera, and most of them hate it, right? Most of them don't want to be photographed. They do it because they have to. Parallel lighting is going to throw a nice even light across their entire face. It's gonna fill in fine lines and shadows. It's gonna help with any kind of dark circles on the eyes, which, believe me, I know all about. And it's gonna be flattering. It's gonna look good. So if you're getting started, don't try and rewrite the book on lighting. Don't try and set up 15 hair lights and all of this other stuff. That's just gonna make it more complicated. And that's just going to make it like a huge investment of time and energy. Go with the simple lighting. Something like parallel lighting, I think, is a great place to start. It's simple, it's going to look great. Your clients are going to look great. You're going to look like a superstar, especially if you use parallel lighting combined with all the other stuff we talked about in this video. You're gonna get awesome images that they'll love. They will love you for it, and you will start booking more clients. Once you become comfortable with that, although you could build an entire excellent portfolio just on parallel lighting, but once you become comfortable with it, then you can branch out and do other kinds of lighting. But walk before you can run, and make sure you're focusing on all of those other aspects before you think, like many beginners do, or many people who are recently becoming headshot photographers think, oh, it's all about the lighting. Once I get the lighting set up, I'll be good. That is the cart way before the horse, because it's all about the expression. It's all about the expression of your client. So even if your lighting isn't perfect, but your client looks good, their expression is natural, they look confident, they look like they want to be there, they're projecting something to the camera that draws the viewer into the image, that is a win. You can have perfect lighting and have people who look out to lunch or look like they can't wait to get out of there, and you're not getting any great images, and you're really not a great headshot photographer, and you've totally missed the boat of what it means to be a headshot photographer. So get that lighting together and combine it with all the other stuff that we talked about, and these tips will bring your headshot photography to a whole nother level. All right, so some final thoughts on these tips. Now, clearly I could have given you 15 or 20 or 25 or 30 or 100 headshot tips, because the more you do this, the more you learn, the more you're gonna be able to be better at it. But I feel like these 5 things are 5 very important tips and 5 very important steps that you can take that are not impossible to do to really radically improve your headshot photography. Once again, I would be remiss if I didn't give all credit for any great photos that I've taken, and also any great advice that I'm giving, to my mentor, Peter Hurley. So one other thing I'm gonna suggest to you is check out Peter Hurley's work. Check out the Headshot Crew, where we train photographers, where we teach photographers, and all the stuff I've talked about here and millions of more things are discussed in great detail in a community of the best photographers and the most friendly, kind, and supportive photographers. So check out the Headshot Crew. All right, so that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed these 5 headshot tips to make your headshots better, to make your headshots rockin', and to make people want to book you. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you gently tap that like button. Share this video with your friends. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Go out there, take some awesome pictures, everyone. All right, bye for now.